Hello everyone, I'm Sean, and this video we are going to be playing some Faster Than Light. After posting my first video and getting some great, honest feedback on it, I decided that it'd probably be best to restart the game and maybe give it a little bit better of a showing, as well as explaining a little bit more what I was doing when I started the game. I brushed through the setup a little bit too much, didn't explain enough, as well as really not selling the game well enough. Thought I would come back to the game and maybe we could get a better impression. So let's go ahead and start a new game. We're not going to pick up where we left off. So this is our ship select screen. On the screen we can choose out of a multitude of ships. The basic ship is the one that's on the screen now, the Kestrel. It's a great sturdy ship. It's got a good layout. You can see the layout here on the screen. We can see the rooms. We've got pilot's room here, empty storage room next. Doors, sensors. This is shields, medical bay. These two are empty right now. They do get filled with something further along the road. At least one of them does. This is weapons here. Empty rooms again, and then we have O2 and engines in the back. Now, I have played Faster Than Light a little bit, so I've unlocked some other ships. Again, the Kestrel is the basic ship. As you play more and you beat some additional areas, you get these other ships. We have the Stealth Cruiser, the Engi Cruiser, Federation Cruiser, and the Zoltan Cruiser. Now there are additional ships that I haven't gotten yet, the Unidentified, Rock Cruiser, Slug Cruiser, and Mantis Cruiser. Maybe we'll get these during a playthrough. There are some pretty specific things that have to happen. In fact, some of these I only got by looking at the wiki, and I've looked at the wiki for Faster Than Light on these other ones, and they're all pretty hard to get. So we'll see what happens. But we'll go ahead and we'll pick the Kestrel. Now, because I have completed achievements with the Kestrel, that's what's on the bottom left here. Again, I've played through some Faster Than Light before. I've completed these 3 achievements. The first being the United Federation. Have 6 unique aliens on the Kestrel Cruiser simultaneously. And I unlocked it on easy, so I guess it's cheating a little bit. But that's a lot of different aliens to get. There are a good amount of species. In fact, I think it's 6. I think you have to have one of every species on your ship. So pretty hard to do, but when you focus on just that. I mean, I didn't try to win on that playthrough, just try to get my 6 aliens. Next achievement is Full Arsenal. Have every system and subsystem installed on the Kestrel Cruiser at one time. Also unlocked this one on easy. I didn't unlock it on the same playthrough as the United Federation. Again, kind of cheating. So that actually gives us a good chance to talk about systems and subsystems. Systems are related to the rooms that we talked about earlier up in the ship display here. And ship systems operate on power. So if we look here on our shields, we have an option of putting 2 into shields here. And you can look on the right, that on the right side of the screen there are upgrade costs. So we can upgrade how much more power we can put into our shields to get stronger shields. You can see that after 2 upgrades we get 2 shield bars. So we have double the strength of our shields. Same thing for engines. We can get additional dodge chances to get hit less, as well as charging our FTL drive quicker. And again, if you look at the upper right, there's a quick description there for all the systems. So engines power the FTL drive and allows the ship to dodge. Upgrading improves dodge stance and the rate that your FTL drive charges. I don't run much in this game. Blazes of glory are how many of my games have ended in the past. So FTL charging is not as important, though sometimes there's just a situation where you know you can't win. Next is oxygen. Refills the oxygen in the ship. Upgrading increases the rate of refill. This one I normally don't upgrade. It's useful to upgrade sometimes. It helps when you need to vent your atmosphere. It's a very good way to deal with borders. But I really don't find it that useful. If I really get a lot of money, I'll upgrade it eventually. And the money system in this game is scrap. That's what that symbol next to the 50 and the 25 are to the right of the screen. You get scrap from destroying other ships, doing random encounters, and you can use it to buy other parts for your ships. We have weapon control. Powers all of the ship's weapons. Upgrading lets you power more weapons. So each weapon is going to take a certain amount of power. And the more power you have in your weapon system, the more weapons and better weapons you can support simultaneously. So this is definitely one that gets upgraded quite often. Next is medbay. Upgrading it means that crew members that are located in the medbay get healed faster. It's actually quite useful, especially if you are going into a Mantis area. Mantis are a race that is very good at close combat, and all of their cruisers mount crew teleporters. So their whole strategy is they teleport a bunch of angry-looking bug fellows into your rooms and destroy your rooms or kill your crew members as you're fighting. With a medbay, you can run crew members to fight the Mantis and then run them back to the medbay and heal quicker, and then run them back. Next is piloting. Piloting is always powered, and upgrading it just gives you better evasion. Now, to pilot the ship, you do need, of course, a pilot, and also the engines with power. If any of those systems are lacking, or elements are lacking, you're not able to jump the ship, and you won't have any dodge chance either, so you're guaranteed to get hit. Next we have our sensors. This allows us to see the interior of the ship, as well as giving us some information about the enemy ship. It won't allow us to see into their interior, but we can see, you can actually see to the right. We can just see the ship interior at bottom, but we can also see the enemy interior with the next level, so we can see where their doors are opening. You can't see their crew members, but you can see where their crew members are located. And then also see enemy power use. That allows you to know where they're putting the most power. It helps with targeting. This system doesn't get upgraded as much during my games. It can be useful, but it falls under the same heading as O2. I only upgrade it if I really find myself with too much money for my own good. Next is the doors. Doors, well, it's pretty simple. They open and close doors. Without it, you cannot close and nor open doors, so that's pretty bad. And to the right, you can see improved blast doors, and blast doors are the result of upgrading it. Useful against boarding actions. This falls, again, under the same heading as sensors and O2, though. Find myself not upgrading it very much. Weapons, down here, you can see that our ship has 4 weapon slots. That means we can only equip up to 4 weapons. We can carry more weapons than that, but they would actually take up cargo space in that case. But equipped on the Kestrel, we have Artemis missiles, which are a standard missile launcher on most Federation ships. We'll fight against quite a few of these in the game. Required power is only 1, so if we come back, you can see that our engine power is 3. So the Artemis only requires 1 power. It's a pretty efficient weapon. Charge time 11 seconds. That means how quickly does the weapon cycle? How quickly does it fire? 11 seconds? Well, it fires every 11 seconds. Pretty self-explanatory. It requires a missile. Missiles are actually resources in this game that you have to keep track of. So it becomes sometimes it's a case of, do I want to use the missile? Is it best to use the missile right now? Or can I get them with just my laser? Damage per shot is 2. That's how much damage it does to the hull. Every ship has hull points. The Kestrel, because it is the player ship, will have a lot more hull points than the enemy. But the damage is applied to both ships, or all ships, the same way. Also, we have shield piercing. That's how many shields it can go through. 5 shield piercing means that it's going to go through pretty much all the shields that it would ever hit. Missiles ignore shields, usually. Burst lasers, they will get hit by shields and stopped, but missiles will go straight through, making missiles a very dangerous weapon, especially if you find yourself with low hull points. Fighting against a missile can easily lead to your death. The number of times that I've died by having plenty of shields, just 5 hull points and not having a store to repair my ship, and getting missiled down by some small little fighter. It's actually quite embarrassing. Next is fire chance. Fire is just like it was at sea in olden naval days, and still to this day, really. Fire in space is absolutely dangerous. More so even because it consumes oxygen. So some weapons are designed to cause fire, or at least have a fire chance. Artemis missiles, they have a very low chance. Probably not going to cause fire. Breach chance, also low for the Artemis. Breaching is when a damage from a weapon causes a breach in the hull that will let air out from that room. If the doors are inoperable, this can lead to the loss of all oxygen on your ship. It's usually not that big of a problem, but you do have to repair it before you can move forward, especially if it's in a crewed area. A breach in shields or weapons or engines can be fatal, due to the fact that you need a crew member in there to repair those systems, but the breach is causing them to not have any air to breathe. It can be pretty bad. However, the Artemis doesn't cause many breaches. Again, there are weapons that are specifically designed to cause breaches. Next we have the Burst Laser Mark II. This is a slightly improved version of the Burst Laser that fires more shots per charge. So, the Burst Laser 1 only fires 1 laser, the Burst Laser 2 fires 3. The required power is 2, so with the Artemis and the Burst Laser you'll find that we are using all of our weapon control power. The charge time is 12 seconds, so it shoots every 12 seconds. It's a little bit slower than the Artemis, so you normally don't want to leave them on just auto-cycling unless you're not too worried about the ship's defenses. Otherwise they'll be off-timed a little bit. And a good strategy in this game is to try to do as much damage as you can in as short of time as you can, due to the fact that shields recharge. Next we have damage per shot. This only does 1 damage per shot. However, seeing as how it has 3 shots per charge, if the enemy does not have shields, that will do a good amount of damage. In fact, more damage than the Artemis. Next, fire chance low. Doesn't cause a lot of fires, and you'll notice that it doesn't even have a breach chance. Lasers are incapable of causing breaches. Only missiles can cause breaches. So that's a good general overlay, or at least overview, of this ship. You'll notice that we also have our 3 crew members. They are humans, seeing as how the Federation is human in this game. We have Willow, Reinhardt, and Stelly. Now those are basic names. Of course you can change them. Right now I don't actually think we'll be using the basic Kestrel. It's a fun ship, but for those that have maybe played a little bit of FTL, you've already experienced this ship. So it's great to maybe see the Red Tail. The Red Tail is unlocked by, again, getting all those achievements to the bottom left. Because I've gotten those achievements, I can play with the other type of ship. You'll notice immediately that the layout is different. This is I find a much better layout. It gives you more freedom to move, as well as making the engine room easier protected due to having rooms that you can void right next to the engine room. Engines and weapons and shields are very common targets for enemies, so having exterior doors in those important rooms leads to easier defense. Also, it comes with, you can see, a larger variety of crew members. The Zoltan, who is currently named Mr. Bugga. He is our first crew member that we'll talk about. His special ability is he automatically powers 1 system, or 1 power, in whatever system that he's in. So let's say that we were to put him in weapons. So if we were to move him, I can't do it right now, but if we were to move him to weapons, he would automatically power 1 weapon. So to get ourselves fully powered here, we would actually only need 3 power in weapons instead of 4, because he would provide 1. He does have the balance, though, that his maximum health is reduced. And of course you can read his description to the right as well. So he's a little bit worse in combat. Boarding actions, you definitely don't want him near the front. Very common for Zoltan crew members to die in close combat. So Mr. Bugga, I'm not really liking that name. So, let's see. Zoltans are glowing guys. They look a little bit humanoid. Now, I know that he's the wrong color, but I'm actually feeling like naming him Dr. Manhattan. You know, he's gonna be probably my shield tech. Always valuable to have that free power and shields. And he is quite glowy. So, he'll just be known as the Doctor, seeing as how the game will not display the long part of his name. Next we have Zas. It's a little bit boring of a name, just 1 syllable. Not very sci-fi. Well, it is a little bit sci-fi, but not the sci-fi we're going for. So let's see. He will be Dirk Starfighter. Yeah, that's right. Oh no, I'm short a letter. He can't be a Starfighter. Let's see. Nova Walker. Yeah, hey, that fits perfectly. There we go. He's like Luke Skywalker, but harder and manlier. He walks Novas, not just sky. Next we have Ferry. He's named after a mode of transportation. That's almost as bad as being named Bicycle. Ah, no, he won't do that. Who am I kidding? He's a tricycle. And next we have Ohm. Ohm. That's probably actually more related to electricity and less Buddhist monks, but I like the idea of being a Buddhist monk. He's the Dalai Lama. It's a great honor to have the Dalai Lama on our ship. Now, oh no, that won't work. He's a mantis. They're kind of good in combat. Well, he's already named. The Dalai Lama will not be participating in combat, unfortunately. What a waste of potential. Now, we're not going to keep Redtail either. We have quite an eclectic collection of crew members, and to keep the basic name would just be doing them a disservice. Let's see. We have Dirk, Nova Walker, Tricycle, Dr. Manhattan, and the Dalai Lama, who will also be known as Lama. What kind of a ship would they all get on? I almost feel like calling it the Reading Rainbow. You can read about all of those people, or things. I don't know, I may be the only one that watched Reading Rainbow as a kid. I'm not quite sure. If you did, shout out. If you didn't, I won't say you missed anything because I don't know, I don't judge other people's childhood, but it was quite fun to watch. Okay, so it seems like we have our ship, the Reading Rainbow. The valiant, brave crew members of the Reading Rainbow will depart to try to stop the rebellion. So, here's our basic little intro. FTL doesn't really have, cutscenes or anything. It's just all text. The data you carry is vital to the remaining Federation fleet. You'll need supplies for the journey, so make sure to explore each sector before moving on to the next. But get to the exit before the pursuing rebel fleet can catch up. Tip: evasion. Evading enemy shots is crucial, but it requires functioning engines and a pilot. Having someone man the engines will increase your evasion as well. Speaking of manning, now that we are in our first system, we are not in any danger. We can go ahead and unpause the game and move our crew members. So first, we can select our crew member here. Let's go ahead and get Dr. Manhattan out of the way. Now, crew members can actually move through each other. I say out of the way figuratively. So let's go ahead and move him to shields. He'll be our shield tech. Go get us charged. So you'll notice that as soon as he walks into shields, we actually got more power. If we walk him back into an empty room, you'll notice that I'll only have 3 power with all these systems powered. Move him back into shields. Hey, there we go. Got 4 power now to spend. Let's go ahead and get the Dalai Lama. He is not going to be firing weapons. That's not very Dalai Lama-ish of him. He'll be in charge of making us escape. Now, Tricycle. He's going to pilot. Dirk Nova Walker will be our valiant gunner, shooting our basic lasers. Great. Now we have all of our systems crewed. Now, these other systems actually don't need to be crewed. There's no benefit to having them crewed. So, only these 4 stations that we have crew members in are actually better when they're crewed. Now you can see here we don't have our weapons charged up, so we can go ahead and activate those. That drains all my power, so I no longer have any power, meaning I can't put any more into my engines. Now, right now I don't need medbay, so I can go ahead and deactivate that. Now my engines are higher. Now when I activate my second bar of engines, I get more evade. We'll go ahead and take off a bar, and you'll notice that my evade drops to 15. If I completely depower my engines, it's at 0. Nothing's gonna miss me. Power it back up 2 bars though, I'm up to 20. 1 in 5 shots will miss me. Oxygen is at 100%. If we go ahead and kill the power of oxygen, you can notice that it starts to drop. It doesn't drop immediately, but it does go pretty quickly, especially in boarding actions where you may have fires or venting rooms. It can get pretty dangerous. I'm not quite sure if oxygen usage goes up with more crew members. It would make sense to me that it would. Additionally on this screen, we'll go ahead and run a little bit more of this. We have, over here to the right, the only button that we can actually use here is these 2 here. We have open all doors on the ship. That will open all interior doors. Won't open exterior doors. If I do that, you can see that the ship starts to vent. My oxygen quickly starts to drop. So let's go ahead and close that before I kill my crew members. The next button just closes all the doors on the ship. Very useful. Again, boarding actions sometimes are easiest fought off by just venting on the oxygen and waiting for the boarders to die. Up here, you can see that we have all our hull points. Each one of these will take 1 damage. If it hits 0, you can see here that it's actually telling me that. The ship is destroyed. No ifs, ands, or buts. Do not pass go. Do not reload. Do not have a checkpoint. A big part of this game is that if you die, you're done. And in fact, there's no save function other than saving exactly where you are. So you can't save just in case something goes wrong and then reload later. So always forward, no backwards. Underneath our hull bar, we have 3 different resources here. We have fuel. Each jump consumes 1 fuel, as the screen says, helpful screen. Then we have number of missiles. Some weapons consume 1 missile when fired, other ones actually consume 2. But all of our lasers, seeing as how they are laser weapons and not missile weapons, will not use any. Meaning, these missiles really aren't going to be that valuable right now. The last one is drones. Drone is another system that we could have installed, and in fact that's what goes into this space here. Drones are really what they sound like, but automated systems that have different effects. Some are anti-ship, some are defensive, there are other that are repair, so quite a few different uses there. Really quite fun to play with, though they do require a lot of power, and because each drone deployment uses a drone part, you can quickly run out of parts, and if you have a strategy based around drone parts, well, that's too bad for you. Next to our resources we have shields. Right now we have 1 shield bar, because we have 2 power and shields. If we come over here, you can see that as soon as we get into 4 bars, we will be able to get 2 power and shields. So, really great there. Oh, also that's our ship. This is our ship overview, if you will. We can upgrade our reactor here. Reactor gives us more power for our power pool, or we can actually upgrade our systems up here. Each upgrade gives us the ability to put more power into that system. You can also look at our crew here. You can see that they have stats in crew skills. That will level up as they operate different systems or do different things. You can see if you look at the upper left, the pilot looks like a head with a kind of arm sticking out to the left and right. That's how well he flies. More he flies, more shots he dodges, higher that will go up. To the right of that is engines. If you work on the engines, if you are in the engine room when we dodge, that will level up. Under the pilot is shields. Simple enough, every time you restore a shield, you get 1 experience in shields. To the right of shields is weapons. Every time you hit somebody with a weapon, you'll upgrade. So, which means actually on the red tail version of the ship, our reading rainbow, with 4 basic lasers, that means we're actually going to level up Dirk Nova Walker very quickly. So, Tricycle will be leveling up as our pilot, of course. Now, underneath shields is repairability. Of course, the more you repair, the more XP you get, better you are at it. And to the right of repair is combat. Combat happens room to room. Pardon me, in rooms. You can't fire from one room to the other. So it looks like close combat, but it involves lasers. Of course it involves lasers. Dr. Manhattan, of course, will be leveled up with shields, and then the Dalai Lama will be making sure our butts can run away from fights we cannot win. Lastly, next to our hull points, you can see that we have our little scrap symbol. This means scrap. Right now we have 10 scrap. Scrap is the basic currency. We'll use that to buy things, get our ship repaired. Also, we can sell things for scrap. And, okay, so that's a pretty basic overview. We'll go ahead and make 1 jump here. When we pull up the jump, you can see here that we have a beacon map. Each beacon is a different different system that we can jump to. Our goal is to get to the exit here. Now, the rebels will enter from the left of the screen. Right now they're not on the screen because we just started. And they will move slowly to the right. The trick here is that we want to visit as many systems as we can, because later sectors will be much more difficult. You want to take the time to level when you can. So we'll want to visit as many of these systems as we can possibly manage right before we use the exit. So let's go ahead and jump up here. So that's the jumping display. You can see that it's not amazing graphics or anything, but really the fun of the gameplay is in the art design, the gameplay, and the fact that really it is you start and then you play until you're dead or you win the game. There's no going back, trying different things. Good example of that, our first encounter. We arrive near a damaged and dilapidated space station. It appears to be abandoned, but you detect faint life signatures on board. We can board the station and look for survivors, or we can scrap some of the debris. Now, scrapping some of the debris is the safe choice. It will give us scrap, guaranteed, and nothing bad can happen. However, on the first one, if we board the station and look for survivors, there's a very good chance that we'll find one who will join our crew and give us another crew member. Now, crew members are a resource of their own. They can die just as easily as your ship can take damage, meaning that the more crew members you have, the more safe your ship is. Losing a fourth crew member when you have 4 systems you need to get stationed can be very bad, especially in the middle of battle. However, boarding the station, there's a good chance that we could also lose one of our crew members. The station is damaged and dilapidated. A wall may go out, the floor may collapse. We may just lose contact with them. So, it does carry some risks. However, getting a crew member is a really big deal, so let's go ahead and try. All around you is the stench of death and decay. Suddenly, one of your crew bends over and starts retching violently. Some sort of disease must have wiped out the station. You pull back to the ship, but it looks like your crew member is not going to make it. Scrap 10. So, this is a good example. Oh man, we just lost Dr. Manhattan. That's a double whammy. First of all, we no longer have a crew member for shields. Now, engines aren't as important as shields, so let's go ahead and get the Dalai Lama over to shields. Also, you'll notice that we can't have all of our systems powered anymore. Because we lost that free power of the Zoltan, Dr. Manhattan, we had to take one out of our engines, meaning our evade right now is only 10%. Losing the crew member in the room, as well as the power, pretty bad. We also don't have our medical bay powered. So if we want all of our weapons powered, that means we're going to have to cut some systems. So let's go ahead and make one more jump. Maybe we can get into some combat here. Oh, we came in too close to a sun. This beacon has been placed too close to a supergiant Class M star. The ship will gradually overheat until you get out of here, or die. A pirate, apparently oblivious to the danger of the sun, moves in to engage. Ooh, this is no bueno. So, what this means is that we are going to be having to fight fire as well as an enemy ship. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's pause. Our basic lasers, we need to target individually. So we can go ahead and just use the number here that's next to them. So basic laser 1, we can just press 1. Let's go ahead and target weapons. Looks like they have a burst laser, maybe? That looks like a burst laser to me. Doesn't look like a basic laser if you compare it to my weapons here. As well as a beam weapon. Now that may be a fire beam weapon, or it may be just a beam weapon that does damage. If it's a fire beam weapon, that means my crew is probably going to suffocate to death between that weapon and the star. So let's go ahead and target weapon number 2. Let's do that into weapons as well. We're going to want to try to take out that beam. Number 3 will go into weapons, and then number 4 will go into shields. You'll notice that they have 1 point in shields as well as I do. So we're definitely going to want to take that out so that I have an advantage. Let's go ahead and unpause, and we'll see what we can do. So our weapons are charging right now. You can see that there's a visual on the weapons telling you how soon it is to charge. Mine will charge a little bit faster, as you can see. So I got the first shot off. You'll notice that I damaged his weapons and his shields. That's what these orange indicators mean. Now because weapons are damaged, that means that he has less power to run through that system, meaning the weapons drop. One weapon does at least. The beam weapon, it's not damaged enough to completely take out power, so he still can power a beam weapon. Now, I did damage his shields as well, meaning that he probably doesn't have as good of shields right now. So let's go ahead and see what I can do with the second salvo. Now, I already took care of weapons a little bit, so let's go ahead and retarget this over to shields. Now, I did just get lucky there. His beam weapon fired, but because his laser hadn't fired, my shields were still up. Beam weapons don't go through shields. They're the exact opposite of missiles. They won't do any damage to shields. They can do damage if they still have enough damage per shot left after the shield, but they won't take down shields. So, I didn't take any damage. Now, I've been able to get shots off. Oh, the enemy ship appears to be powering up its FTL. It's trying to escape. Now, if they escape, I don't get any benefits. So let's go ahead and target their engines to make sure that... Oh, wow, I just got lucky. So let's go ahead and pause. Let's tell what just happened. Now, you can see that a solar flare just came. My ship did overheat, so I have a fire burning in my sensor room. I'm going to go ahead and vent oxygen to put that out. Go ahead and open all these doors. That'll vent all 3 of these rooms, making sure that the fire doesn't spread. What happened to him, however, was because he didn't have any shields like I did, the fire, instead of just catching fire, the flare actually damaged his ship as well. I had done enough damage to him with my shots that the damage from the solar flare caused his ship to break up. So now that I'm venting air, let's go ahead and see what we got from this encounter. The ship explodes, leaving behind a substantial collection of useful scrap material. We got 2 missiles, 1 drone part, and 14 scrap. Again, right now we're not using missiles or drones, so those will probably come in useful later on in the game. Right now, not so much. The scrap, however, is very useful. Now let's go ahead and pause. You can see here that the rooms are starting to clear out. The fire isn't quite dead yet. The venting of oxygen is not immediate. But we can actually use this chance to look at the experience. Now, Dirk Novawalker was able to get off 8 shots with lasers. So if we come over here and we go down to weapons, it looks like he was able to get 8 out of 65 charge. Now when he levels up, when this bar hits 65, he'll level up and get 10% faster charge on his weapons. Allows him to fire even faster and level up even quicker. So very useful. Now our Mantis crew member, the Dalai Lama, he did have to restore our shields, but it looks like he didn't have to do it. Actually no, maybe he didn't. I don't think he did. So he didn't get any XP. Also as well, Tricycle, not having to dodge any shots. The enemy ship only shot that 1 beam weapon, did not get any points for piloting. So the only person that even came closer to leveling up is Dirk Novawalker. But let's go ahead and then unpause and get my engines charging here. So if we go ahead and power up the engines, that means they'll charge a little bit faster. Hopefully I can get out of here before the next solar flare. Oh. Okay. So I was able to get away from that right before the solar flare happened. Now, I stumble across a forward scout of the rebel fleet. He's going to be a little bit harder of a fight than the Mantis. You can see here that he has more weapons. Looks like he has 1, 2, and 3 weapons. One of the weapons being a missile launcher. That's going to probably hurt. However, I think we'll leave this fight for the next video. This is probably long enough that I'm running up against my YouTube limit, so I'll go ahead and end it now. Hopefully this was a much more in-depth look into FTL, as well as being a little bit easier to see, and I hope that it made the game look a little bit more interesting. Understanding the game definitely helps, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks! Funny enough, it looks like you actually can't save and quit in the middle of combat. So I'll go ahead and play through this and record it so that we don't just skip it in our next video. So let's go ahead and continue. Now, it looks like my sensors are out, meaning I can't see the inside of my rooms. Not that big of a deal right now, seeing as how there are no borders. You can see here that there's no crew teleporter in this section right here or in this section right here. So I won't need to worry about those rooms as much. I do know that there is a fire in there though, so I hope that we can wait it out. It'll go out eventually with oxygen. Let's see though, I do want all 4 of my weapons charged, so I'm gonna have to drop power out of something. Seeing as how I'm venting oxygen right now, probably not the best idea to turn that off. So let's go ahead and drop one out of my ship's evasion. Makes me a little bit easier to hit, but I would really want to try to get a shot off before that missile launcher fires. He could definitely mess up my day. So let's see if I can get that off. Now I'm charging. This weapon's going to be a little bit behind the other ones. Oh no, that's almost fully charged. Yeah! Oh, this may hurt. Yeah, you'll notice that it pierced my shields, so my shields drop as soon as the missile hits it, and it did 1 damage to me. Now, it may not seem like that big of a deal, but it does hurt a little bit, especially seeing as how you cannot repair this between stores, and stores may be a little bit rare. So let's see what my shot did though. Looks like all 4 of my lasers hit, or maybe close to it. I wasn't paying attention, I was actually watching that missile. However, I completely damaged their system to where it's not working anymore, meaning all of their weapons turned off. Now that I don't have to worry about their weapons as much, I'm going to go ahead and target their shields with a few of mine. Now I want to keep the damage up on the weapons because I'm sure they have a crew member in there trying to repair them. I definitely don't want to get hit by that missile launcher again. So we'll keep 2 burst, or basic lasers on the weapons. Luckily, his weapons aren't charging right now because they're not powered, so I'm probably going to be okay. I can kind of wait him out here. Did a little bit of damage to his shields, doesn't look like it was enough to drop him. Let's see what this next salvo does. There we go. So shields are gone, they won't be restoring that. You can see that they're trying to repair it. When it flashes like that, it shows that they're repairing it. It was a little bit too late. So the rebel fighter has broken up, their ship breaks apart, and you are relieved to know that you are still 1 step ahead of the fleet. So I got 2 missiles, 1 drone part, and 14 scrap. Again, a pretty good haul for a normal playthrough. Missiles and drones, not as useful. Scrap, definitely useful. Okay, so we are safe again. Let's go ahead and close all of my doors here. Wait for the oxygen to fill back up in those rooms. So we're going to watch this here. And let's grab a crew member. So Dirk, Nova Walker, pardon me, Dirk. And I assure you, I did not mean to call you Tricycle. You two don't look alike. At all. No, sir, you are not identical. So we'll go ahead and get him into the room and start repairing him. Or that system at the very least. Now it looks like he's not taking any damage, which would be shown here on his health. So obviously there is air in that room. A good trick there, actually. I'll show you now that we have our sensors. If we vent a room, let's go ahead and vent this room here. So, when it has those striped lines, that is the indication that a crew member won't be able to breathe in there. So if we go ahead and move Dirk here. Oh no, Dirk! He immediately starts taking damage. You can see that it actually goes pretty fast, especially when there is no atmosphere whatsoever. Low atmospheres will do a little bit damage, but if there's no air at all, yeah, that's a little bit more dangerous. Now, he is damaged, meaning we need to get our medbay powered up. Let's go ahead and power off our weapons, power up our medbay, and he quickly is tip-top shape. There you are, healed up to full. We can go ahead and get him back to his position. And once more, our weapons are crewed. So now that we have completed our combat, I believe I can go ahead and save and quit here. So that was a quick little second part, how to do that quick combat. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Again, feel free to comment, like, favorite, anything. Also, criticism, comments, no matter how mean or harsh, always love to hear it. Like to get feedback on these videos. So please, feel free, speak your mind. I'll see you guys next video.